Hi, I'm Syante. I'm a singer-songwriter, pop rock artist, originally from India, and I live in LA now.
How did you get into music?
Ooh, the more I think about this, the more I feel like it started before I was even born. Because my mom and I talk about my inclination toward music, and she was like, well, when I was pregnant with you, I started listening to a lot of English music, and she never does that. Like, she's very traditional, very Indian. But apparently, she started listening to a lot of Celine Dion and, stuff during the early 2000s, late 90s, Ricky Martin and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't even know why I used to listen to that, but apparently, I feel like you were making me listen to it. So I feel like that's where it started. But like growing up, I was a part of the school choir. I would say my music teacher at school was a big part of me deciding to get into music because he always encouraged me. He was like, you should take up music and you should do something more with this than just keep it as a casual hobby. So, yeah, it started as, being a part of the school choir. My mom was also very musical. She taught me the harmonium. That was actually the very first instrument I picked up. So yeah, she used to make me sing at local events, cultural events, and stuff like that.
That's an incredible connection between your future 20 years down the road and what your mom was feeling from you while you were in womb.
Right.
So, but you didn't have a straightforward path to music. You went a little bit the corporate route. Tell us
I
about
did.
that.
So yeah, growing up in India, I was told that music couldn't really be a career. It was always meant to be kept as a hobby, something you did in your free time after you came back home from work. It was meant to like relax, be a thing for relaxation, and music was meant to rewind, not something you would get up and do for work. So I didn't really have the opportunity to study the kind of music that I wanted to study because even music schools in India are mostly oriented for Indian classical and like Carnatic and the very very traditional kind of music. So I was you really have only two options in India: engineer or doctor. So I was made to go down the engineering route because I was like, I hate both. So my parents were like, well, we're gonna choose for you then. So yeah, I studied computer engineering. I got a bachelor's in computer science, and I think I was in my junior year. Yeah, during the pandemic, and that was when I was doing my internship virtually, and I was like, do I really want to do this for the next 40 years? I can't imagine myself doing this for the next 40 years. So I started thinking about what it was I wanted to do as a child, and it was never a question. Like growing up, I was like, I'm gonna be a musician when I grow up. And it was during the pandemic, I was like, well, I'm grown up now. It's now or never. I have to do this. So I called up one of my friends from school, and I was like, hey, what do you think I'm good at? Like, as a career, what do you think I should pick? Like, not the conventional, traditional thing that people tell us to do, because he was also in banking and then he gave that up and became an actor. So I was like, you're a good person to, like, bounce ideas off of. What do you think? And without even a thought, he was like, musician. Like, duh, are you kidding me? I was like, all right, thank you for confirming what I already knew. So that was when I started looking into moving to the States because Los Angeles and New York are really the two biggest cities for music. And I decided to like go all in. People were like, well, you should have started small, like move to a bigger city in India, grow a little bit there and then come here. I was like, no, I just want to, you go for the moon and land among the stars or whatever that saying is. So yeah,
You came to in a pivotal point in your life. What do you think he saw in you that made him choose musician?
he knew me from a very early age, which is the one of the reasons why I asked him because I knew that he had seen me right from like kindergarten. I'd known him for like almost 12 years, and seeing that he also did something similar, where he chose a conventional path or was made to choose something conventional and then decided to just throw it away and go do his thing. That was very inspiring to me. And I was like, I also kind of want to do the same thing. So the fact that he knew me for such a long time was kind of pivotal in me asking him, because I knew that I had to like ask someone who knew me.
What was that? It sounds like you were close. I mean, I'm just thinking about this connection you had with your mother, even in womb,
Yeah.
where she knew there is a musical destiny at play here intuitively,
Uh-huh.
as mothers do.
Uh-huh.
What was that conversation with your mother about I'm moving to LA? By the way, good choice over New York. We got much better weather.
I agree. Moving to LA, I didn't really think about it much. I was just looking at schools because I felt like going to school was like the only option I had. So I looked at schools in New York and LA, and USC's program was the only one that stood out to me. So that's why I just came to LA. It was so like, it was almost, what's the term for it? Like destiny. It was not something I chose. It was something that was like, it was handed to me, literally. But coming to the question of the conversation with my mom, I was just like, I'm gonna move, and my parents were like, "What do you mean?" Like my parents had never been to the States before that, so they were like, what are you trying to do?" And I was like, "Well, let's just say that I don't want to like do this computer science thing, and I want to go after what I want to do." And the program that I chose was communication management at school, just so it was kind of like a middle ground between what my parents would be okay with and what I really wanted to do, because I could specialize in music, the music industry, business side of music within that program. So I was like, all right, I don't need to tell them about the specialization part, but comm management is a pretty good course. It's a pretty good program. It's like an MBA, which Indian parents love for their kids to have. So yeah, it was like a middle ground. It was like the perfect program.
Well, part of what I like about some of your music, like a little bit psycho, and what's the other one? Not you.
Ain't you?
Ain't you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you speak to what those songs are about because I'm relating them to the conversation we're having right now.
Yeah. Uh huh. Well, I think there's multiple layers to all of my songs. Psycho is, of course, about the fact that I get called crazy a lot of the time by people who don't understand my life decisions, choices, and they're like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I am." And we all have to be a little bit crazy, like you're crazy until you make it, and then people are like, "Oh, she or he was a visionary." So that's the way I see it. So it's about owning your craziness, but also if you read the lyrics carefully, it's about, falling for someone or almost falling for someone and then withdrawing because, you are scared of being hurt. That's like really deep in there. Most people don't even get to that unless you're like really studying the lyrics. But that's why it's called Psycho, because I know that I'm not, like, I have commitment issues and I'm not gonna go deep into the relationship. And I know that, and I'm psycho for that. It's almost like Taylor Swift's song, "Hey, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me." Like I don't want to get too deep into this because I'm scared of getting hurt. So yeah, there's different meanings and layers to that song, but yeah, I feel like the easiest or the meaning that most people can relate to from that song is, you know what, I'm crazy and that's fine.
Yeah, well, I definitely related the deeper meaning to the conversation we're having, and ain't you also? It's like you're choosing, you're waiting for the person you want, kind of thing.
Yeah, A2 is about almost falling for your idealized version of someone, and then when that version doesn't match up with who they really are, that mismatch leads to a lot of confusion. And it's like, you know what, I thought this could be you, but it's not you, and it's okay. It's almost that feeling of acceptance and that deep exhale of realization and letting go. There's also empowerment in that song. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's a sad song." I mean, yes, but also it's a lot of like it takes a lot of maturity to understand that something or someone is not meant for you, and it's better for you and the other person if you just like moved on with your lives instead of just trying to like make it work when it's clearly not.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciate about your music is the songwriting in it too. And it seems like you've won songwriting competitions. And how do you see yourself as a songwriter? How do you approach that process for yourself?
I, as an artist, I would say I'm a songwriter first before anything else. That's something that I can't stop myself from doing, even at an early age. Just the process of telling stories was something that I just couldn't stop myself from doing. I used to write a lot, like novels, poetry, even before I got into music. And then I eventually figured that I could put melodies to poetry and make it music. But to me, as a songwriter, I feel like I have so much to say, not just inspired by my life experiences, but also things that just come to me. Because I feel like as a songwriter, I'm a vessel to like take things that already exist out there, untold stories, little sparks here and there, and just like put it out into the world in a tangible form. And I'm just a vessel to do that. And I feel that call to do it. Like no one has ever taught me that. No one in my family is a songwriter. I just feel called to do it, and so I do it.
What's beneath it emotionally to have something you feel is a calling?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, it's just something I can't stop doing. Like, I could overhear someone's conversation on the phone or something, and I'll be like, whoa, that's a cool line. Or, I think what they're talking about has a story right there. And that's when I take out my phone and start jotting down things. So to me, I feel like when we listen to stories, or like when we read a book, watch a movie, it's like it's very primitive. It's a very primal thing in us. Like stories have been passed down from like generations, word of mouth, manuscripts, all of that. So I feel like it's a primal thing in us to like listen to stories and like feel something, not just like there's two parts to it. It reminds us of our experiences, similar experiences that we've had, but also it helps us be more empathetic because we're experiencing something that we may not have experienced. And, you know, living through, like just being in the shoes of someone else when you're listening to a story and like living that experience. And I feel like that emotional connection is what draws us to stories.
Yeah, it sounds like there's an from what you're saying, there's an evolutionary aspect and a survival aspect.
Right.
And what I'm hearing from you is you're a bit of an antenna picking up these signals
Absolutely.
around you, um, which to me sounds very Buddhist
Oh.
in terms of awareness,
Hmm.
having to be aware of what's around you. You have a calling.
Right.
Well, let's start with this. What do you get? What do you get out of that process of being that antenna and that channel towards bringing this out to these messages out to people so they could evolve in their own life?
It's almost a feeling of satisfaction and calming, a feeling of restlessness that comes about if I'm not doing it. So it's almost like an inner itch, like I have to get these stories out. If I hear something, I have to like make sure that I get that story, like I build around it and get that story out. So it's almost like an inner itch. It's like an impulse that I have to like satisfy.
And do you feel like when you're sitting down and writing these songs, I always see it a little bit like a monk in a cave
Hmm.
at the top of a mountain, right? At the top of a mountain because that's where great things happen, right?
Sure.
And so what's that? What's that experience like for you? That like birthing that act of creation onto a page in your own private moments.
The experience of songwriting can be really different depending on when, where, and what I'm doing. Because sometimes I'm like so overcome by emotion, and music is almost a form of therapy for me at that point in time. And then I have to just sit down at my piano or guitar and just like purge myself, like just say whatever I feel like saying without worrying too much about, whether I'm saying it right, whether people will like it. So it's almost like a purgatory thing, where I have to like just get the emotion out of my system, almost like therapy. And then it so often happens that I don't want to put songs like that out into the world because it's just too raw and emotional, and maybe that's not even like what I'm trying to say, because sometimes a lot of these songs come from places of pain and sadness and hurt. So what I try to like, I try to put out positivity into the world. So later on, when I'm in a better state of mind, it's like I go back to this and I'm like, okay, can we like polish this up a little bit? I know it's almost like you're like making it pretty, and that's not what people want to see. People want to see the raw, unfiltered thing, but there are times when I maybe just don't want to put it out there because, like I said, I'm a very private person and I am not very comfortable with people seeing that. So that's one way of doing it that I've done before. Other times it's like I just sit down and I'm like, well, I need to write a song about this topic because that's what's going on right now in the world and I just need to say something about it. So it really depends on the time of the day, what I'm feeling, and yeah, stuff like that.
So who are you as a person? Like as an artist versus who are you as a person?
So as an artist, okay, yeah, let's just go with artist first. As an artist, I would say I talk about themes of empowerment, themes of, like I said, about the song Ain't You, it's about letting go, and there's like relief in that. It's almost like catharsis, because that's where a lot of my songs come from. It's like letting your emotions out. So, yeah, it's definitely that feeling of letting go, exhale, empowerment, feeling good, but at the same time it's like, there's a little bit of edginess to it, a little bit of rawness, not just, feel good just for the hell of it, like party vibes, though I love that too. So there's that side of my artistry, and if we were to talk about the archetypes, it'd be visionary, rebel, and a little bit of gesture because I love a little bit of fun in my songs. So if you look at some of my reels, you'll be able to see I do stupid things all the time on the internet. And I'm silly in real life too. It's just that I have to be comfortable enough in front of you to like show my stupid, silly side. But those three are my main archetypes when it comes to my artistry: visionary, rebel, and gesture. As a person, I would say like I'm Pisces, so I'm like very emotional, very sensitive, but that is just my sun sign. Like my rising sign is Capricorn. So on the outside, I'm very like tough, very, very like, I'm gonna go do it kind of thing. Tough skin. I don't feel emotional, but I am emotional. It's just that I don't express it openly in front of people. And this is something I've struggled with in my artistry because I've become so like, I've built my walls so high that people are almost like, well, we don't feel you singing when you're singing your songs, because the songs are written from a place when I'm emotional, but when it comes to delivering, I'm like, yeah, what will people think of me? So it's almost like as a person, there's these two sides, the tough exterior, my Capricorn side, and then my Pisces side. So it's, how do I like balance those out and present myself? So it's always a question of, one or the other, but it's like balancing it out, but tough on the exterior, but like super sensitive and emotional on the interior.
Well, it sounds like on a personal level, it sounds like your songwriting process is an exploration of that depth inside yourself.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I guess writing songs, telling a story is almost like exploring things that have happened, but also that could happen. Because, Pisces are dreamers and we love to, like, dream up things and, imagine stuff all the time. So for me, songwriting allows me to do that too. Because I don't always write songs that are exactly a reflection of what I'm going through. Because a lot of people are like, well, you write a lot of songs that seem to be romantic songs. And I'm like, well, trust me, I have nothing going on in my love life. It's just like either extensions of other relationships that have different dynamics and kind of like superimposing a romantic angle to it. So that's like the imaginative side of me. Or they're like completely imagined, completely like, made up. So yeah, I feel like that's the way I like to explore different emotions, different like angles. What could be? What if things played out this way? What if? So I'm not like that in real life though. I'm like I'm gonna do this. Period. I'm gonna make sure that it gets done. But when it comes to my songwriter side, I like employ my Pisces side more, and I'm like, go ahead. Let's just think of what could happen.
Even if it's not about specific things happening in your life, does it help you sort out your feelings and understand yourself on a deeper level?
Absolutely, because I feel like, again, songwriting can be a great tool for being more empathetic. Because it's like, well, I'm not really going through this right now, but I have to feel those emotions, and I can only imagine what it must feel like to experience all this. I once wrote like a breakup song, and someone cried after listening to it, and I was like, dude, it's all imagined. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, but I feel like I do a decent job at like exploring and just putting myself in the shoes of the character. It's kind of like when you're watching a movie and you are on the journey with the character yourself, except that this is just through music.
So is that what you mean by it helps you develop empathy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone else and I'm building out a character and I'm trying to imagine what it must feel like to experience things that I may not have experienced in real life.
And do you think, because when you were saying you have these walls and barriers up as a performer,
Yeah.
I think there's room for empathy there also.
Hmm.
Um, does that empathy ever extend to yourself?
I think that's a great question. Um, I am definitely trying to do that more because when I'm writing the song, I feel certain things, and then when I'm performing it, it's almost like I feel the feeling of being perceived or judged by people. I guess if I'm more empathetic towards myself, I won't feel that fear of being perceived or judged. Um, I think I'm gonna explore that the next time I perform because that's something I've been working on really to like not view the audience as something external or exterior, but as a part of an extension of me almost, and that I'm performing it for myself in a way and for that extended portion of myself, and we're trying to like live through the story together.
Yeah, what would happen if you did let those barriers down and you were celebrated for it?
I think that's what's gonna happen if I let the barriers down. People are gonna feel the emotions more. They're gonna really get into the song, and that's where the celebration is gonna come from. It's just a matter of like learning to do it. So I feel like I've been getting better at it. It's just yeah, when you're so used to doing things a certain way and you feel perceived, judged, and also coming from a culture where judgment is pretty harsh, and if people don't quite understand what you do, they just like put labels on you. So coming from that culture, I've had to like unlearn a lot of things and understand that it's okay to let my guard down. It's okay to express who I truly am in front of people, and I'm not going to be shot down for it. When someone asked you a question, like the professors asked you a question and you weren't able to answer it, they were rude and mean, and I don't even know how that's legally allowed. Like they were pretty rude and mean, and we as kids still remember those things because we latch onto those things from a very early age. So when you are raised in that way, where you're shot down for like just being yourself, and you're told to behave in a certain way and not ask stupid questions, you just build your walls up high, and it takes a lot of unlearning to like get back to being curious and being open and being stupid and silly.
Do you ever have spiritual experiences in your songwriting process?
I guess for me, when I'm writing the song, like lyrically, it's a lot of what am I trying to say, and why is that helpful for whoever is listening to it? Like, I mean, I could, we've got freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want, but like, is it something that is beneficial for the person who's listening to it? What message am I trying to like put out into the world? Because I feel like the more I do this, the more I realize what it is that I really like about music. Number one is where you just listen to something and you feel like you're on top of the world, and you know you've got it all figured out. It's just that the more I listen to like some of the songs from the late 2000s and early 2010s, the more I realize that, you know, I had that feeling listening to those songs, and it connects back to, you know, that time when I felt like I was just on top of the world and I could do whatever I want. And I feel like that comes a lot through the musical, like the melodic aspect of it, the instrumental part of music, and lyrically. I guess for me when I'm writing, it's like, what am I trying to say? Is it something that, is it, number one, is it my truth, and number two, is it gonna be helpful for anyone? But I guess it's more the first one. It's like what I truly believe in, and is it worth it for me to like say it out loud, put it in a song for others to share in on that truth?
I've heard it said that the amount of light you can experience in life is directly equivalent to the amount of darkness
Hmm.
that you're able to get through in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how does I hear when you're saying, you want to bring positivity and light through your music. Have you considered that maybe the path through that is this darker self?
Yes, you don't really understand, or you can't see or feel light unless there's darkness, because one doesn't exist without the other. So, of course, there are dark places in like everyone's lives, and in mine too. Like I had to come to this new country and figure it all out by myself. So there were times when I just cried myself to bed, and I still do. But it's just that so many people have like helped me out, helped me figure it out. Then when I think about it, I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, there's literally no reason for them to do it other than just out of the kindness of their heart. I did talk about that in one of my songs. It was like, it was one of the songs that won a contest. It was about getting a ride from a random stranger in the middle of nowhere because I didn't have a car at the time, and you know I was stranded, waiting for the bus, which never came. I could have been kidnapped. That person whose car I got into, he could have taken me anywhere. But he turned out to be one of the kindest people, and I was like, well, number one, I it does take it does take braveness to like trust someone like that. And the other, it also takes kindness on the other person's part, because you know, you when someone's trusting you, you could either like break their trust or just uh, reinforce it. So that choice is in our hands. Like, well, what do we do in situations like that? So to me, talking about that experience, I feel was pretty meaningful to me. Those experiences, the more I'm able to put that out through my music, you know, experiences of just trusting people, and then just people helping me out for no good reason. And just that mutual symbiotic relationship. I mean, it's more of them just giving me instead of me giving anything to them. And it's just like that giving without expecting anything in return. I feel like that is something that has really touched me. And I feel like maybe I should make more music that touches on those things that I've experienced, the positive things. But yeah.
What's this process of creation coming out of, your cave on the top of the mountain, and then bringing it forth to producers or musicians or people who help you make it into a song?
Yeah, it's a very interesting process because oftentimes I just write the song by myself on my guitar or piano when I'm just feeling that itch, or if I'm feeling emotional, and then I just have to get the song out. And then once I have something that I really like, I mean, I like all my songs, so I really make other people listen to it, and I'm like, hey, do you like any of these? Do you want to like take a shot at producing any of these? Um, so yeah, after that, it's just a process of collaboration. It's a lot of the other party really taking my song to the next level, because I mean, it's one thing to just have vocals and an instrument on it, but another to like give the listener a complete sonic experience and like elevate the song to the next level. So I'm really grateful to have people who help me do that too.
And what's it like for you in the room to trust them with your baby, kind of,
Yeah,
and watch it bloom?
I think it's, well, it really depends with the producer as well. A lot of times collaboration is completely remote. I just hand off my baby to them and I'm like, take care of it. And then they do multiple like versions of the song, send it back to me. It's a lot of back and forth. I give my feedback. I'm like, hey, this sounds too happy or this sounds too sad. Can we change the sound of the guitar on this? Can we try a different riff? So it's a lot of like back and forth. But when I'm in the room with them, it's like you're doing it together. I see them work on it and I can give my feedback immediately. And it's a lot of bouncing ideas off of each other. It's like, hey, I want to do this, want to do that. Let's listen to a few reference songs. Let's pick elements from this and that. So yeah, it's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of feedback, a lot of, hey, let's do this, let's do that. But it's also like trusting the person and knowing that they're gonna do a good job of like adorning your baby.
Well, and let's keep going deeper on that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really asking more from an emotional perspective rather than a technical perspective of
Hmm.
how it works. Like, what's your process of trusting this? What comes with having to trust with someone with this?
It's like it's like you go to a restaurant and you like place an order and you just trust the chef to do a good job of giving you what you asked for. I've had bad experiences too where the person I trusted was like not as great to work with or didn't do a great job or like didn't give me what I thought I would get in the song. So yes, there is a lot of trust involved, and where there's trust, your trust will be broken. That has happened multiple times. But also there have been times where someone has exceeded expectations, and they're like, "Wow, I didn't really expect you to do this good of a job." So there's also a little bit of like a little bit of fear almost involved in the process, because you're like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen, but all you can do is like wait and see where it goes. So there's a lot of anticipation, maybe a little bit of fear involved because you don't quite know where it's going, but all you can do is like trust them and be like, all right, it's gonna be all right.
And when you get it back, how do you know it's it? How do you know it's like this is right?
I mean, it's just when you know. I don't know that there's like, if it makes me feel something, I guess that's it. If I'm like, if I can close my eyes, listen to it, and be like, wow, I just went through a whole experience, felt those emotions, and that's the one. So I guess when that feeling comes through.
And then the last part of the process, you talked a little bit about some barriers you have about performing it. But what are some of the positive parts of experiencing it now with an audience?
There's two parts to it. When I'm performing with a band, I feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more open, because we're all like playing together at the same time, and it's, again, it's like the process with the producer. There's a little bit of fear because what if someone slips up, but in spite of that, you guys trust each other, and even if someone slips up, it's like, how do we like keep going in spite of that? So I feel like with the band, it's always a lot more fun for me because there's like so many different ideas that like going on at the same time, and I usually let them play whatever they want. I'm not too strict about how to play which part and all that. Um, so there's always that fun aspect, and then inviting the audience to be a part of what we are experiencing as a group together is one of the most fun aspects of it. As a solo artist, I find it a little harder because it's just me, and now I have to like carry the story all by myself and make sure that I'm inviting the audience. So I feel like there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's inadequacy, but like I'm almost scared that I'm not gonna do a good job at like inviting the audience and letting them be a part of the journey, which is why I often like shrink back and um don't like give it my all, if that makes sense. But yeah, the more I've been talking with mentors and vocal coaches and everyone else, they're like, it's okay, even if you make a mistake, we're only human. It's okay to make mistakes. It's almost that fear of making a mistake that makes me like get all stiff and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna like shrink myself and just play it safe. But in life, I don't play it safe. So maybe it's time for me to like start doing that in music too.
Do you feel like you have fans?
I have fans. I have people who show up at all my shows. Who there's this one person who I found at school, and she's like, she's one of my biggest fans. She just like comes to all my shows, photographs me, helps me do everything I need. I do have fans.
And what is that? What do your fans mean to you?
Fans mean the world to me. I wouldn't be anything without them. So if someone's listening to my music and they're like feeling something and they're like, we love what you do, we love your journey, we love the stories you're telling, and we want to be a part of that journey, that's, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Can you tell me any stories that involve your fans?
Ooh. I mean, there's a lot of like social media stuff, people like constantly supporting and DMing me. But also I feel like the most like the biggest experience I've had was this one person from school who just like heard my story when I was talking to someone at a panel at school. And she's like, I love your entire life journey. And even though I haven't listened to your music, I'm your fan. So there have been people who just like, even without listening to my music, they're like, we just love who you are and what you stand for, and we want to support you. And she streams all my songs, and she sent me her end of the year Spotify thing. I was among her top 5 artists, so that was really cool to see. But which is why I feel like a lot of people talk about how important it is to share your journey, not just your music, because people often fall in love with who you are as a person and what you represent and what you stand for, rather than just the music itself. So I feel like my biggest fans came to me because they loved who I was as a person, and then, yeah, they just loved my music too, and constantly keep streaming it.
And what ultimate impact do you hope to have as an artist?
This one person who I was talking about, she always goes, "Well, listening to your music just it gives me the courage to like be bolder and stand up for myself." And she got out of a relationship that she didn't want to be in, and she was like, well, I think being around you and listening to what you do and just being around you helped me do that. So if they are able to take something from my music and take action on it, implement it in their own lives, be it going after their dream or getting out of something that they don't want to be a part of, just learning to be their true authentic selves and not being afraid to do whatever they want to do because they're a part of my journey, or if they listen to my music and choose to do that, that's the ultimate goal. Hopefully the fans are able to do something actionable in their lives as a result of listening to my music or being a part of my journey.
So I want to talk a little bit about the business side of being an independent artist. So what advantages are there in being an independent artist?
Um, growing up, I was always like, I have to be a part of the major labels. But I feel like the major labels at this point don't even look at you anymore unless you're already successful just being independent. And what the major labels now are that they will just take your career to that next level. And if you're looking for global superstardom, they might be able to help you do that. But you already have to be a superstar by yourself. Like you need to have a legion of fans. You need to have things going in your favor. You already need to be playing like festivals, have a lot of media coverage. You already need to have fans, and then they can come and elevate that. But being an independent artist, I feel like I get to call the shots. There's nobody telling me what to do, which can be super exhausting because I get to make all the choices, which is great. But also, it's like I have to, you know, wear so many hats and make all the decisions myself. And I'm a perfectionist, so I'm always like, let's redo that again until we get it right. Both in terms of music, like I send my mixes back to my producers and like, dude, let's redo this, let's redo that. And even on the business side, I can be like, well, that's not the way it should be, so let's redo that. As an independent artist, I also get to retain my own rights, which is great. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess that freedom of not having someone telling you who to be, what you should be doing, what songs should go out into the world, you get to make all those choices by yourself, which can be a curse and a blessing. Because, it can be hard to make all those decisions by yourself. You don't really have anyone else doing those decisions for you, but at the same time, it gives you that freedom.
So, what is broken for independent artists right now?
Whew. I guess one of the hardest things I find is like standing out in a saturated market because everyone's an independent artist, especially here in LA. Every single person makes music. So it's like there's so much content going out on social media and like every other platform, really, like thousands of millions of songs are being uploaded on Spotify. And with AI now, heaven knows what's going on. It's the wild, wild west. But yeah, I feel like as an independent artist, doing everything by yourself and maintaining your sanity while doing all of that, like editing your social videos, doing all the creative stuff, and then doing all the marketing stuff, reaching out for playlists, PR, plugging, all of that. Number one is maintaining your sanity, your mental health. And number two is just how do you stand out? Because there's so much noise all around you. How do you like get your fans among so many other people? Because the more the content, the more choices people have. How do you make someone choose you instead of someone else?
How would you fix that if there is a fix?
I don't know that there's a fix. I'm not saying we should start gatekeeping, but like, since anyone can upload songs now and anyone can make content now, it's just you have to do something that's really unique and stands out and represents who you are as a person. But even then, sometimes you're at the mercy of the algorithm. Your content might not be shown to the right people. So it's really a mix of the luck factor and also being consistent and just persevering, keeping doing what you know, what you believe in.
So, what support is missing for you as an independent artist that would help you the most?
I wish I sometimes had someone to like guide me. So I guess mentorship, the right mentor, not just, any mentor who's willing to talk to me, someone who really understands who I am, where I'm at my journey and what I need to do. Another thing I feel is missing is resources, both financial as well as resources to help me get better at my craft. Sometimes it's just a matter of like I'm a part of 100 different organizations, get a lot of emails, so it can be hard to like sift through everything because they often include resources in the emails, but it's like so hard to like go through 100 emails and figure out what's going on this week, what conferences are happening, what resources are available for me. So it's just that if someone were to sift through all of that and hand me the right resources that I need, that would be great. I'm not sure how that's possible, but if somehow that could be done, I would totally be grateful for that, like a magic genie that just hands me all the resources I need by just looking at where I'm at in my journey. Um, Finances can be hard because you can literally just hire a person to do everything for you, but we also barely make any money from our music, so that's hard. Playing live shows in LA is really hard. I feel like you do need to play shows to get better at your craft, work on your stage presence, but a lot of venues here are pay to play. And it's just hard to get out there because people expect you to bring your own audience, but what if you don't have an audience? So it's just like a never-ending circle. It's like you need to have an audience, but to have an audience, do you need to put out more content? In order for that, you need to be like good at performing. So it's like, the circular process. Um, yeah, I guess those are the main things. I know it was a little scattered, but those are some of the things that I struggle with.
Is there anything the industry's overlooking that they should be providing support for independent artists that they're not? Is there anything missing?
Yeah, it's just the right resources because I know that, like, I know the funnel. Like, you need to go viral on social media, capitalize on that, drive people to your Spotify. Once you get your Spotify numbers up and your Instagram numbers up, that's when the labels start taking interest in you, and that's when festivals want to try to start booking you. And once you do that, you get more exposure, more fans. But I'm like, how do I even like get more Instagram followers and Spotify streamers? Is it just like putting content out there, like throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks? Like, what is it? Do I need a social media manager for that? What kind of content should I be making? Because there are 100,000 different videos out there telling me what content works and what doesn't work. And it's just confusing to have so much information being thrown at me. Someone's like, well, lyric videos work. Someone's like, music videos are dead. Someone's like, well, you should start with a CTA. Or, some people are like, don't sell your music. Like, don't make it seem like you're pushing your music out. And I'm like, whoa, that's so much information. What do I do with all of that? So there's that overload of information. So I guess sifting through is a part of the process that I feel is missing. Like, I just don't have the capacity to sit through all those videos and see what works, what doesn't. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but that was just my train of thought.
Yeah, it sounds like there's too much advice out there. You don't
Yeah,
know who to trust. It's
exactly.
hard to know where to start.
Right.
It's hard to know what will work.
Exactly.
Um, in terms of content, I'd suggest make more music.
Right. Right.
Music is content.
And
But
also,
then what do you do with it? How do you promote
right.
it?
Right. And also, your question about what's the music industry missing? Well, we don't have artist development these days, so it's up to us to develop ourselves. The major labels back in the day, they saw talent, they signed talent, and then they spent years developing that talent, their sound, their brand, all of that. But now it's up to you to do all that. And without the financial resources that the labels have, it's just hard to do it all by yourself. So it's a lot of trial and error. Well, who do I want to be? Do I want to be this person? Do I want to be that person? What is my brand identity? What are my archetypes? So it's a lot of, self discovery involved in the process, which can take time. And when you're doing it by yourself without the right mentor, that can add up.
There's nothing else you want to express?
I mean, there's so much I want to express, but like,
So,
for this interview, I think we've covered what is most important. Like, yeah, the kind of music I do, it's like pop rock. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, my influences, if I were to talk about those, are like a little all over the place. I grew up surrounded by Indian music, so I might be incorporating that unconsciously. I don't know, because I like to bend my notes sometimes, and a lot of people are like, that's just sounds wrong. And I'm like, no, it sounds right to me though. So I feel like that might have come from growing up around Indian music. Grew up listening to a lot of the Disney pop rock stuff, like Hannah Montana and Demi Lovato, camp rock, Jonas Brothers, Selena Gomez, all of that. And I feel like that era of music was very upbeat, very positive, compared to the music right now, which can be a little more depressing, for the lack of a better word. But to me, music is about positivity. Like, if I want to put something out into the world, even if it's sad, I want there to be light at the end of the tunnel. So I want it to be uplifting and positive. So for my music, I tend to go for super upbeat, super feel good vibes. Also grew up with a lot of bands like Linkin Park, Green Day, so you'll find that a little bit of grunge in my songs, the rock elements. So I would say my music is a mix of like it lives under the umbrella of pop, but you'll find undertones of rock, a little bit of alternative in there. I also love the euphoric vibe of EDM. So it's like taking elements from all these genres and like mixing them together and seeing what comes up.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any parting messages for whoever may be watching?
I have a lot of new songs in the pipeline, so keep an eye out. If you follow me on socials and on my Spotify streaming platforms, you'll be able to keep up to date with my new stuff. Also had a song come out at the beginning of May, so if you want to go listen to it, it's the one we talked about, Ain't You. It's out on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, it's such a great song,
Thank you.
and I'm looking forward to all that comes next.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Everybody needs somebody.